I want to share a big aha that I had recently. So a few days ago, after the ABC special aired, the New York Times printed an article called Oprah, Ozempic, and Us. And every time I see a story about it, I was like, oh, yikes, what is this going to be? And it was by Tressie McMcMillan Cottom. And there was a line in that story that was a light bulb moment for me. It said, when Oprah ended her talk show in 2011, she had settled into her body, but settling is not love. I said the same thing. I said, how'd she know that? I really did. I honestly had never thought of it that way before, but it resonated as truth to me and hit a real nerve for me. So thank you for that. Tressie, come on up. Come on up here, Tressie McMcMillan Cottom. Hi. Hi. So you're not a psychiatrist, you're a sociologist, associate professor at UNC Chapel Hill, and a New York Times columnist. And I heard that you went back and you watched the final episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show.
I did, yes.
When you had that realization that I had settled and not loved. So how were you able to articulate in one sentence, actually, something that I had not figured out myself?
Okay, so first of all, hearing you say that is stunning. For me as a person, a woman, a former little black girl, you were the only version of me on television when I was growing up. So part of the answer to that is I saw it in you because I over-identified with you. And I could see it in you because finally I saw the contrast. I saw a sense of freedom and joy in your face during the ABC special. And I thought, oh, that's what I've been wanting. That's what I want for other people. But if we're very honest, I saw it because I could see a version of myself, as I have always seen, a version of myself in you. And if you were finally free, it meant that it was possible for me. And so that's why. So thank you.
So you say there's a difference between acceptance and joy. And the reason that line struck me so is because I so wanted to be like Hunter and Jen and Tracy and so many other body positive advocates, and was trying to, in my own way, come to loving myself. And I've done all the exercises and the meditations, and I've been to India, and I sat with I've done it all. But as I said at the beginning, it's hard to love yourself when the rest of the world is constantly telling you that what you look like isn't enough. It isn't enough. It isn't enough. So how did you come to understand that it was a way of settling?
One, because women are trained to settle. So if we don't know anything, we know we're supposed to settle. How could you want more? Aren't you happy with what you've got? And part of seeing people ask that of you is that for millions of us, you had everything. And I thought, if they still want Oprah Winfrey to settle, what do they want from me? That was the big thing.
Yeah.
But also, there's a word I think I would love to introduce to our conversation. We've been talking about how to name and label things, and that word is stigma.
Yeah.
So there's the shame we feel, and then there's the stigma that we label other people with.
Yeah.
And I, like you, have loved and wanted all my life to move into a space of acceptance. But the thing is, I can accept myself, and other people can still stigmatize me. And real joy.
Oh, the church went amen right there.
Yeah.
I heard you, church. Yeah, say that again.
Yeah, I can accept myself, and the world can still stigmatize me.
Amen to that, yeah.
And what I think joy is moving into a space where, yes, I accept myself, and my body reflects the best version of myself. And when I get on the bus, nobody calls me bow cow. And when I show the picture from school, nobody would have put it up on the wall. Other people's opinion of us really limits how far our acceptance can take us. And we need to know that, I think, because you got to name the thing accurately.
Yes.
If you are going to change the thing.
Yeah. You have to name the thing. That's what we're talking about tonight, coming up with a new way of languaging this to ourselves and to the world. Can we talk about the difference in acceptance, too, between men and women? I mean, I thought Rodney's story was so moving, bow cow, but even as a male, and I'm not in any way minimizing anything that he's been through, but he has had a different existence in his male larger body than a woman would have had. I mean, I think even guys admit that, right? You know, that it's much tougher. So what do you want to speak to that as your sociologist brain? Yes.
Well, my sociologist brain would say to that shame is democratic. We can all be shamed.
That's right.
And we can all feel shame.
So Rodney's shame is no different than mine or anybody else's.
And it is important to recognize that, because we can lose those different dimensions.
Right.
But not all of us are stigmatized the same way.
Exactly.
And so there's this phrase, there's this term, the obesity penalty. And the obesity penalty is the way the world values us differently when we are overweight. And here's the thing. We can look at women and men, and that obesity penalty is greatest for women. What that looks like is that when a woman is overweight, she's paid less than a thinner woman. When a woman is overweight, she has fewer job opportunities over the course of her whole life. When a woman is overweight, if she finds herself unemployed, she's unemployed for longer. And it's even true for powerful women. They even look at executives, high-earning executives. If she is overweight, she earns less. That obesity penalty does not exist for men. Overweight men don't experience that in the world. When we talk about how we shame and stigmatize people, while shame may be available to all of us, stigma is, to my mind, especially when it comes to how we stigmatize people for their weight, it's fundamentally a feminist issue.
So you said something recently specifically about weight bias and working class women and women of color. Will you share that?
Yes, I would, because one, I'm talking about me and I'm talking about the people I love. I'm talking about my family and the people who made me. And so it matters to me because marginalized women, women of color, low-income women, working class women, they experience all that same shame and stigma, and yet they tend to be invisible when we start trying to change the conversation. They also then experience that stigma.
Tell us what we mean by
bias.
Invisible, because if you're watching and you're not invisible, you don't even know what that means.
Yes, it means that when we start talking about body acceptance or we start talking about changing the conversation, we tend to privilege, frankly, celebrities, right? And we privilege people who have health insurance, my goodness, right? When the conversation is for millions of women, they can't even access health care. Right? And so the question of, for example, when we talk about the medical revolution of weight loss drugs, if we were thinking about those women, we would be asking, why are they so expensive?
Yes.
Why can't we get them in every neighborhood?
Yes. Why doesn't insurance cover it?
Why doesn't insurance cover it? All of us are better off when we ask those questions and think about those women. I actually think we have a much better
Instead of why are
conversation.
celebrities on it?
Yes. Frankly, can I say I was tired of that conversation? I really was. And because it was minimizing what was at stake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This isn't about being thin enough to be pretty enough, although that's fine. Right? For some women, this is about getting your doctor to respect you in the doctor's office. This is about getting and keeping the job that can change your family's life. Honey, that is far more serious to me than whether or not somebody is pretty on the red carpet.
Come on. Preach this evening. And you told my producers that after watching the special that we did on ABC that you decided yourself to stop judging people for taking GLP-1s. What were you judging?
You know what I was judging? I was judging that I thought we were paying attention to the wrong thing. right? I get afraid. And beneath that judgment was fear, which I think almost always behind a negative emotion is fear and anxiety. And my fear was we are going to focus on ending obesity by ending people who are fat. And I thought, well, no. What we've been talking about is choose the body and the life for you. Right. And what we owe you as a society, what we owe you as a culture is that whatever choice you make, it won't ruin your life. It won't ruin your life. That is opportunity. I don't want to fix fat people. I love some fat people. I love my fat self. I don't want to fix that. I don't want to get rid of that, right? But we can get rid of the idea that there is moral failure, that there is poor character, and that people deserve to be mistreated for the choices that they make about their body. And so I was afraid that the narrow focus on drugs, especially as celebrity culture, was going to obscure those bigger issues. But then I talked to women. And a lot of women, as I've been writing about it, and if I say believe women, then I gotta believe women when they tell me they're happy. And many of them told me, I'm happy. I'm on the drugs, I'm taking the drugs, and I'm happy. So I have to make space in my mind and in my life to say, okay, let's focus on what matters. Let's focus on access and stigma and ending bias, but let's also recognize that there are women telling me this has positively changed my life. And both of those things can be true at the same time. And what I really needed to focus on was how can that be an opportunity that everybody has.
Wow, that's right. Making it accessible to whoever feels the need and the necessity in their own life, if that is what they choose. So how do you think, Tress, that we move forward collectively in this moment? I know this conversation is the beginning of it, and this isn't going to solve anything tonight, but I hope it gets everybody thinking differently about your own approach to your own, weight health and how you approach other grown-ass women doing theirs and men. Grown-ass people doing theirs.
I'm listening to everybody's stories and even knowing my own story, and I think that what runs beneath all of them and what I hope will come next is that what we're really saying is not just that we want this for ourselves, but we want other people to treat us better. For that to happen, we've got to treat other people better. So what I hope happens is that that's what we would focus on. Mm-hmm. How do we make an opportunity for other people to be treated better? You got two things. If we moved forward and we were talking tomorrow about how do we make these drugs affordable, then I think we've done something. If tomorrow we wake up and we said, okay, how do we make it so that it is illegal to discriminate against somebody for being overweight in the labor market? Shifting the attention to how we can help each other, not be stigmatized, will, I think, help us feel less shame ourselves.
I think that you're so right that we're talking about the wrong thing. We're talking about, you're very smart, very smart, very smart. Thank you, Tressie McMcMillan Cottom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being my therapist through the New York Times. Wow.